Rule 2167 of the internet. If it exists, there is a Larp version of it. And I noticed this with the trend, especially on the unchecked sides of the dark web. You know, people basically hiding behind these Larp communities to dox, harass, bully, basically shame people out of existence. In other words, kill them, for things that they religiously and or politically disagree with. It's a very common saying, and I wanted to get this rule out there because it's becoming very, very common that you're hearing the word LARP nowadays, and it's a new rule of the internet, especially in 2026, time of recording, because that's when a lot of the LARP channels are now starting to get either noticed or starting to get big, and nothing ever happens, they said, and another rule, which is Rule 404 or 404, is if it exists, there is a grift version of it. If it exists on the internet, there's a grift version of it. Alright? That kind of thing. And, yeah, this rule has been set up for, the things going on, and they try to make it peaceful, they try to make it civil, but it's like as soon as you go out of the slight difference, and as soon as you change the content, the videos, to something else that is not specifically what they pre-approved of, especially when it comes to, say, that LARP replier guy, or especially lessons in LARP culture, people like that, they don't realize how much of an easy target they are. Like, they're not like super low-hanging fruit like Gilmore Girls or something, because that really is low-hanging fruit, at least metaphorically speaking. But yeah, those I don't really understand it. I don't really understand the whole LARP thing going on. Like, I get that they're trying to bring back the 2016 nostalgia, but let's be real, they'll just shove the whole decade of the 2010s or sometimes the 2000s, and they'll just, any good memory they had prior to 2020, must have been 2016. Like, no. Even if you did have good things going on, 2016 was not the best year of that decade, and I would give criticism to basically anybody who says it was the best year, because unless you were upper class or you were somebody who just so happened to have it good that specific year, most people didn't. And I know this because I used to be very, very social in that year, and it was the worst year of my life for me personally. And I know I'm ranting about a year that's long gone, but it's like, that's where it comes from. It comes from that nostalgia of, a time that doesn't exist anymore. They're trying to bring back something that that doesn't need to exist anymore, And I get that there's, what about AI? What about artificial intelligence? But it's like, nigger, listen, I want to tell you this. The internet has kind of moved on from 2016. Yeah, you can be nostalgic about it or whatever, because there are certain parts of the internet that are still like that. But, we're not going to go back. I don't want to go back to 2016. I don't want to go back to that disaster. Now, don't get me wrong. If you had a good year, great for you. Great for you. And why am I mentioning 2016 again? Like I said, this all revolves around the LARPing. Why does this revolve around the LARPing? Because that's the earliest I can say where the nostalgia for this LARPing stuff goes back to. But they really gotta stop, doing this, with the exception of a few channels, such as, LARP Beast 3000, I think it's called, and some stuff like Larp Annoying Orange, which is not a YouTube channel yet, but it will probably be. And, or Larp Orange. But, yeah, I think a lot of these people really need to move on, you know? But, again, it can be its own genre of content, of videos on YouTube. You know, like right now it's really, really big and the trend is really, really huge. But I see it being more of like a category or a specific genre of YouTube rather than being an entire, you know, part of the internet. Because the most I'm going to see this trend last, it's probably going to last till September ends. If you get that joke. That Green Day joke. But anyway. Yeah. Rule 2167 of the internet. If it exists, there is a LARP version of it. What do you think? Do you think I should change the number? Do you think I should change how it should be said? You know? For the internet? Because it's starting to get into real life. It's starting to bleed into real life, you know? And, yeah, there's just a lot of annoying channels that come from this. A lot of fucked up channels that come from this. And right now, you might see, oh, yeah, but there's this one big channel, da-da-da-da. It's fucked up. But again, this is my last saying of this. The rules of the internet. Rule of the internet. 2167, rule of the internet. If it exists, there is a LARP version of it. Alright? Alright? Anyway, that's all I gotta say for now. Bye.